Good afternoon, Carol. Nice to
Hi.
see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you.
How have you been since I last saw you?
A lot's been going on.
Right. Okay. Before we discuss that further, I need to inform you that this will be a graded fictional simulation, in which your participation requires your consent.
Yeah.
And your consent to be filmed for this simulation. Would you be able to give me your consent?
Sure, I'll do that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay. So you've had some ups and downs lately in your life?
Yeah, the up part is I finally moved into my new house.
Okay.
What I talked to you about last time was that my husband was really exhibiting mental illness and that I had left. And so I ended up getting informed, as you know, and put in hospital, and he was kept in the whole 72 hours.
Right.
But they're not telling me if there's a diagnosis because he won't give consent.
Okay.
And then I had to take him to court and to get the house put on the market, and it was a really really hard to do because of his paranoia. He wasn't understanding what needed to be done.
Right.
So I spent a lot of money and a lot of time. But anyway, I think things are almost resolved, and I now have my own home.
That's good.
My son is going to school, so he's living with me.
Good.
And it's really, really good on that part. But the other thing that I'm really, really struggling is my son who died 8 years ago. I guess I had to put him on the back burner, so to speak, because I was dealing so much with my husband's mental health issues. And now it was an 8-year anniversary in May.
Okay.
And I really found that one hard. And I think it might be because I was so involved with getting away from an abusive marriage.
Right.
That I kind of had to put him over here. And now that all that's done, he's come back. And I don't mind that. But I know that sometimes the way I deal with stuff is I drink. And
right.
I got my 60-day pin, and now I've started drinking again. Okay. So that's why I'm here. I made an appointment to see you because I kind of fell off the wagon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. That must be very overwhelming to share.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's good to get off your chest, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So to paraphrase what you've been saying, or sorry, to reflect what you said, you had to deal with your ex-husband's mental health issues, and at the same time, you felt that you had put your son on the back burner, not grieving him. Sorry, not grieving him. And you said that you've been drinking again.
Yeah, I started drinking again.
Okay. In terms, what kind of support do you have for your grief with your son? Do you have any people you could talk to, or any numbers, anything like that?
Well, I was in a support group, like a Breed Mom support group.
Okay.
So maybe I should reach out to those moms again because they were pretty supportive at the time. I kind of let some friendships go.
Right.
Do you think it'd be maybe something I could do? Do you think that'd be a good idea to reach out?
I would highly encourage it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the direction of these sessions is brief solution focused therapy. So instead of going into a lot of detail of the underlying problems, we'll be focusing more so on brief solutions that can help you, basically to help you get through your the situation that you've been going through, to make it a little easier and less severe.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I would highly encourage it if you did. If you did respond well to the support group, that could be one solution that we could work towards.
And maybe there's a mom in the group that feels the same way I do, and maybe if I reach out, they'll be glad I reached out as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody understands what it's like to lose a child unless they're a mother or a father that's lost a child. And
right.
maybe those are my people.
Yeah. You feel that's important for you to relate to them on a deeper emotional level?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, I can give you even other similar resources that are in that kind of way. Support groups, numbers. If you respond well to that support group,
What else do you have?
there's education programs about problematic drinking, how to reduce your drinking if you see it becoming a problem. Ways to cut back down on it.
How can I do that when I'm grieving? How can I do that when the only way to not feel bad about my son is to drink until I pass out?
Right.
So I don't know what to do.
Well, there's two avenues to treatment. Basically, there's abstinence and there's harm reduction. So for anyone who's not able to abstain from alcohol drinking, then that's when harm reduction techniques are put into place.
And what's that?
And that's basically because there's so many hazards with, alcohol use, drug use. In order to avoid those hazardous ways, we teach you methods to, reduce those harmful effects, so that they're not as debilitating to you, and you're able to function daily.
So where do I go for that?
There's a facility nearby. I can give you the address. Do you live very far away from our agency?
A couple kilometers.
Oh, so not far away at all then, because this one is, not that far away. Maybe less than 10 kilometers away. It's really close, and I can give you a number. And just to briefly go back to you grieving your son again, you said that the reemergence of your grief makes your drinking worse, or is that what prompts your drinking?
It prompts my drinking because I guess I don't do negative feelings well, and it's just such a hard place to go.
Okay.
And so I just start with one glass of wine and think, you know what, I deserve this. Okay. I've done so much, I deserve this glass of wine. And then one glass of wine becomes 2 glasses of wine, and then 2 glasses of wine becomes a bottle, and then a bottle becomes 2 bottles.
Right, yeah.
And, I have a neighbor that comes over and brings a bottle, and before you know it, I pass out, and then I feel awful in the morning.
Right.
And I missed a couple of days of work because of it.
Okay. Well, another solution that I would suggest to you is, you don't necessarily have to take it, but it's just a suggestion, is that there are various crisis lines for, whenever you're feeling that you're going to engage in heavily drinking. You can actually call these crisis lines, and it's people who, more or less what I do, it's therapy. They talk you through, if you're, whenever you're going through a hard time, they can help you through that.
I had a friend that volunteered for a helpline.
Oh, really?
Yeah, maybe I could do that one day if I get my shit together.
Would you be interested in addition to the agency that gives you harm reduction techniques, would you be interested in the crisis lines, giving you some numbers?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm not a bad person because I drink. I'm just someone who's gone through a lot in my life.
Right, of course. Yeah. Okay. And this doesn't have to necessarily pertain to what you've been experiencing through, sounds like, the past quite a few years. Whenever there was a distressful situation in your life, how how were you able to cope with it? Like, did you have any skills that you used that?
Like any experiences I've had that helped me and stuff.
Yeah. Any like tough situations where you thought you would never be able to get through it, but based on your strengths and your skills, you were just able to pull through, and it amazed you.
Well, I don't think it's in my past. I think it's right now.
Okay.
Because, I was married for over 30 years and didn't have a mortgage, no debt.
Right.
And then I thought you can't put a price on your soul.
Yeah.
And so I left in my late 50s. I left a situation, started again.
Right.
And you know what? I'm pretty proud that I've done that. So I would say I've coped in one way really well, because right now I'm living in a home I love, and it's my home, and I'm proud of what I've achieved.
Right.
So I'm just trying to put that in place with the loss of my son, because now it's him that I need to really deal and think about. I know one thing I did. I built a bedroom, like a woman cave, and I put pictures of him and things that people gave me after he died.
Right.
And I have his urn.
Right.
And I just make him a part of my home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I am doing stuff that's even just now I'm doing stuff that has given me strength.
Right.
And I want to live for him. I don't want to repeat what he did, because he couldn't cope with life, which I didn't realize till after he'd gone. And that's what he did, was he got addicted to opiates.
Right.
And I guess what I'm doing is I'm drinking.
Right.
Because I can't cope with some aspect of my life, when really kind of doing what he did. What do you think of that?
Well, addiction could be very familial. So, in the sense that you're repeating your son's addiction, it's just, that in itself is a coping mechanism, and it's, it really is just self-medication. It's basically a person trying to block out those, heavily charged emotions, like very negative emotions. And it's just a way for them maybe to forget it temporarily, but unless you deal with your grief the way you're doing, people are always going to engage in self-destructive behaviors. So I would say that's one of your biggest coping skills, is that you honor your son's memory, and that you are constantly surrounded by his memory. You embrace his memory and his life, and I would think that's that's one of the biggest things that helps you get through your daily struggles, is just remembering that your son's always with you, and he has a special place in your heart.
That's really nice what you just said to me. I just need people to say his name, and because he lived for 24 years.
Yeah, very
and
brief.
I just this is a good visit. I want to thank you, because you just made me realize that I'm stronger than I thought.
Right, exactly.
I'm being strong now.
Yeah.
Maybe I could drink tea instead of having a glass of wine.
Okay, good. Yep, so just to conclude, I'll give you those numbers for the agency and also for the harm reduction agency. And you said you were interested in those crisis lines?
Well, maybe just put it on my fridge in case I'm going to lose it. Maybe I could do that instead of drink if I really feel really stressed out.
Yeah. I
feel okay now, but because you've made me feel good. But once I get home alone again, maybe having someone I can reach out to.
Exactly.
If I start to need a drink.
Yeah, and they've actually been known, we've done research on them, and they've been known to be very effective in those exact situations when you feel like you just want to take that one sip, and then eventually that sip will lead to 10 beers or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important too to have that as a a backup resource.
Okay.
And is there any other thing that we did not discuss that you feel is important to discuss now?
Can I see you again in a couple of months? Like it's
Yeah,
been a
of
couple
course.
of months and
Yeah.
kind of like for a tune-up.
Yeah. We always
Right.
do follow-up interviews with our clients,
Oh, good. Okay.
you know, to assess their situation, any improvements, any setbacks, and then how we can, you know, modify their treatment goals.
I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Take care. Have a good day.
Thanks.